I'm going to do my best to provide an origin story of the company Blaze Global and the software application Miles Together. Um, it's been 5-ish years now. It started when my son, my firstborn, was in third grade, and I was a father who worked a lot of hours and often came home depleted, distracted, um, and discontented. I was often trying to figure out my next move in life because I wasn't happy where I was currently at. And my son at the time, he started getting actual grades in third grade. And as the grades started coming in, I started seeing things like C's and D's and tardies and other behavioral issues. Um, my natural reaction was to be frustrated at him, maybe blame others, blame teachers. But in reality, he didn't have a love of learning. He didn't have a love of reading. And I was phoning in my parenting. Um, I would buy books off Amazon, give them to him, and say, "You should be reading." So it was negative, sort of distant parenting, I think, because I was then going into my room and trying to figure myself out. I had my habit apps. I was reading, doing some mindfulness stuff, and but what I didn't realize until it became painful enough to realize it was there was a relationship gap forming, and it was scary, and something had to change. So um, I think I was on an airplane reading a book, and an idea came to me that said, "Well, could I merge my future career with my connection with my children?" And so I was inspired by something I saw in my son Miles's classroom, which was called the classroom economy, which was money you could earn or credits you could earn by exhibiting certain behaviors. And there was money you could gain, and there were also fines. So there was the carrot and the stick. I thought, what if I did something similar in my own home, and I empowered my son to self-select from a library of micro actions, and those actions would represent his whole self. It wouldn't just be chores. It wouldn't just be do your homework. It wouldn't be get this grade and I'll give you something. It would be a broader spectrum, like gratitude or selfless acts. Um, and the idea being I would break these actions into very achievable chunks so they never felt like they were too difficult to surmount. And for example, read for 10 minutes, not read for an hour, not read a book. So we started down this path, and he really took to it. I think he liked the extra attention he was getting from me. I was aligning my after work need to find something meaningful with my child. And it worked. It worked for a little while. He was reading. He was starting to enjoy his reading. His grades were improving, and then and he was going for a Chromebook, and he got it. And then it started to spiral because what I learned very quickly was rewards that are tied to some sort of material gain. Once that material gain is achieved, you just have to keep upping the ante, but it has a diminishing return, diminishing effect. And one night I was sitting on the couch and watching a show, and I told him, "Hey, you need to do the dishes. It's on your list. You had picked it." And I was doing one of those typical, "Hey, go do it." And he didn't seem to like it, and I didn't seem to like his attitude. And he's in the kitchen doing the dishes, and all of a sudden he starts crying. And I ask him what's going on, and he breaks down and says, "I hate this system. I hate it. I don't care about the rewards. I feel like your servant." And that was where I think Miles Together, the application, the solution, the idea was born, because I realized that this wasn't going to go anywhere if I am just phoning it in, if it's top down. And I realized I better jump up and be connected to my son, because this is a relationship problem. It's not a get stuff done because I said, or get stuff done because you could earn. It's a relationship problem I had to solve. So I jumped up and I went to the kitchen, and I started doing the dishes with him, and I apologized. And he seemed a little bit shocked. And I said to him, "I'm sorry, Miles, you're right. And who am I kidding?" I said, "I'm always in my room trying to figure out myself, and I'm not a perfect person. And I should be doing this right along with you. And we should be partners. I should be telling you what to do. We should be lifting each other up." And I said, "Let's start with you telling me what you think I need to work on. What would be on my list of actions?" And he rattled off a few. He said, "Don't yell at us unnecessarily. Play with me more. Spend less time on your computer when you're home." You know, all of that had to do with relationship. It all had to do with connection. It all had to do with some sort of meaningful bond between a caring adult, a father, and his son. And the next big catalyst in this movement that I was beginning was I realized that some of these actions we could take in tandem. And so it wasn't just me go do mine and he does his. Well, what could we do? Like chores being one of them. But another big one was we had a check-in where we would read together for 15 minutes. And then he would come into my bedroom and he would sit side by side with me and he would read and I would read. And he says that's where he developed his love of reading, because he loved being in my bedroom side by side, and he loved experiencing something that Daddy does all the time by himself, which is read. And he said, you would look down for 10 or 15 minutes and you wouldn't look up. And he says, you would grab your pen and you would take notes and you would underline. And he said, when I saw that, I really wanted it. I wanted to be like that. And that's where he developed his love of reading. So I say all that because the outcome has been a beautiful relationship it is sustained itself, and it's grown, and it has a depth to it that is very, very, very strong. And my daughter inherited the same thing, and we all have a very strong depth and connection. And he went on to, get straight A's that year, read several, I think 10 books over the summer. He competed in a battle of the books in 4th grade, won the most prestigious character and leadership award in the town, his 4th grade. And that just continued all the way to 8th grade, where he won the African American Youth Achievement Award. And he was the keynote student speaker at his 8th grade graduation. And then he got into a great high school that was very difficult to get into. They even made him go to summer school. And then his first semester, we just got the grades. He's a scholar. He got straight A's. It's a beautiful, beautiful journey, but it all was predicated on and born out of finding a solution to the relationship gap that had grown. And I think that gap can exist anywhere where you have young people. They're starving for a meaningful relationship. They're starving to be seen, and they're starving for those caring adults in their lives not to act like they know everything. They're okay if the adults don't know everything. They just want to know that those adults care, and that those adults are willing to admit that they don't know everything, and maybe the young people know a few things too, and to be not only caring guides, but also partners and participants in the journey. And I think when you allow that to happen, magic happens, and it's hard. And that's why the application is designed to be so simple that it really just focuses on that meaningful relationship, the guide and participant dynamic, and then also simplifying life and just to the little things, because it didn't take a seminar or summer school to change my son and his love of learning and love of reading. It took 10 minutes next to his daddy reading side by side. And that's it. So that's the story. It continues to unfold. And I hope you got something out of it. Thank you.